Johnathan Grzybowski, welcome to the conversation today.
It is an honor. I am super excited and hopefully can provide moderate to mediocre value.
I think it'll be great. It's a pleasure to be with you. Where are you joining me from today?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
I love
About
Philadelphia.
an hour outside of it actually. But that's like central base. But I'm actually a
Mhm.
little bit up north because cities. This is like not a part of the podcast conversation I'm sure you wanted to get into, but when you are of age of like I'd say 20s to maybe early-ish 30s, you are like all about the city life and you want to be vibrant in the abundancy of movement, and then you start a family and then you want to do everything possible to get as far away from the city as possible. So yeah, I don't want to go to the city for a very long time unless I'm forced to or have to.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah, I'm torn between urban and rural. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Salem, south of Portland, Oregon, which is medium-sized city, state capital. But then my family moved out to Northwest Missouri, rural, totally in the middle of nowhere. Like the biggest city in the county is like 1,500 people, and then I ended up out here in Utah. And I've been in Utah for quite a long time, and it's kind of just urban sprawl, and it's kind of medium size, outside of Salt Lake City. Um, but I always, I love going back to visit family in Missouri, even though they're in the middle of nowhere. And there's a part of me that could just 100% see me, almost like homesteading, like having
Mhm.
having a plot of land and like doing all that kind of stuff. And it's just a really appealing setting and lifestyle. I don't think my wife would ever go for it,
Uh,
but it's definitely, I love having that pace and that just the beauty around us. I guess in Utah, we're fortunate that we have, a lot of mountains and lakes and national
yeah,
parks, and like it's not hard to get to it very quickly. But yeah, I'm with you, man. I love the opportunity to focus on family and just
100%.
that life is awesome. Well,
Yeah,
hey, like you said, that's not the topic for today, but I think it's an important like sneak peek into who you are. So I appreciate you sharing that with me. Today, we're going to be talking about leveraging talent to win in the future of work. So how can we within our organizations identify, leverage that talent, bring in new good talent, retain existing bench strength and build that over time. All of these are really, really important things and some of the things that you focus on in your work with Penji. As we get started, I wanted to share Johnathan's bio with everybody. Johnathan Grzybowski is the co-founder of Penji, a creation subscription service that empowers businesses, agencies, and teams with the simplest way to access creative talent. He's also a storyteller and hosts of Dear Dads and Free Ideas, where he shares insights on entrepreneurship, leadership, and family life. I love that. Johnathan, a pleasure. Welcome. And anything you would like to add by way of your background, personal context, or a little bit of a background on Penji?
yeah. I'm not good at a lot of things. I'm actually not good at anything. And I just everything that I've done in life has been through hard work and determination and not getting back up. And I hope the answers that I provide add a little bit of help to help you on your journey.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And we're all building the plane while we're flying it, right? We're all trying to figure stuff out. And it's all about the journey. And like you said, fall down, get back up. Um, and have resilience in the face of the challenges that we all face, because we all got them. We all have stuff that we're dealing with.
Many.
um tell us a little bit more about Penji and your work there, co-founding and ramping up, and really what your goals are there.
That is the goal question is probably the 20, 30 minute conversation. Leveraging people is obviously important as well. But Penji's a creative subscription service. So rather than hiring somebody in-house, you can hire a company like Penji and
Mm.
they'll be able to do all the work and you do the brain power yourself. So whether you are we are like the creative team for your team. And so whether that team is a team of one or whether that team is a team of 100, we are basically the ones that take all the ideas and execute them for you, and then you just kind of place them wherever they need to be. So, any type of economics related to hiring an in-house person, you have the salary, you have the taxes, and then what happens if they have the onboarding that doesn't necessarily cost you anything, but it does cost you time, which I would argue that it does actually cost you something.
For sure. Yeah.
Um, and then all of that other fun stuff. Then what happens if they don't work out, and you have to let them go? Well, guess what? You're going to be paying more taxes because that's always fun. And so Penji basically solves that problem where if you need somebody very quick and you need somebody to do work for you almost immediately, you don't have to go on these third-party websites in order to talk. You can literally hire somebody and hire Penji immediately, get connected with the top 2% of graphic designer or creative in the world, and then within 24 hours, they're going to be able to send you a deliverable that's almost as close to pixel perfect as possible. We
Mhm.
have hundreds of creators all over the world, thousands of customers paying us, and we're solving that problem, which is talent, reliable people that someone can be implemented into your business within minutes, and then be able to understand the brand within a couple of hours, and then be able to get rocking and rolling with the creative content within a day.
Yeah, I love that. And talk a little bit more about um what you do that's differentiated from, like Upwork or some of these different platforms, where folks will go find talent. Like you said, it can be a bit of a crapshoot. Like you're trying to vet and like understand like what people are doing. Talk through us through that a little bit more.
So there's nothing bad about any of those platforms. It's just
Yeah,
what
absolutely. Just
is,
different. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like I preface that because I don't want it to sound like those aren't the those aren't the best option, or the worst options, or the best options. Like, they are great options if you're in a bind. And I think in terms of their price points, I think are also super strong.
Hmm.
When you go onto these platforms, you basically communicate with multiple people in order to vet your idea, and then
Yeah.
they ended up telling you that the idea is great and that they can do it. And then you receive the deliverable, it may not necessarily be as great as you thought it was, and then you have to make modifications, et cetera, et cetera. That process can be drawn out to a week, right?
Yeah.
And again, you might be able to receive the funds, the cost associated, where it's right within your wheelhouse of what you want to spend, but there's just so much additional cost that you just may not be aware of. How Penji works. Oh, and in addition to that, the person that you're hiring, they're very good at one specific thing. But then you probably need multiple things, like, for example, a video or a logo, or maybe you need creative direction on a particular project, or maybe you want something hand drawn. All of these things in particular are going to be available to you, because when you work with a company like Penji, you get multiple designers, as many as you want, in different skill sets that you want. So you can have an illustration and a logo and a website design all within $1,000 a month. And in order to be able to hire that whole team within the United States is going to run you at least 200 plus $1,000 a year in order to achieve that.
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's super helpful. And again, like you said, there's nothing wrong with all these various platforms. I mean, overall, I just love that we're in a world today where we can connect talent to organizations in a variety of ways, traditional employment, contingent workforce, and we can partner with agencies like yours, with organizations that can put you in place with, vetted individuals that can work on projects for you. Again, more, it sounds like what you're describing is, a little bit more holistic of an experience with vetted, talented people who can help you on multiple aspects or phases of a project, as opposed to like, a Fiverr, Upwork, where usually it's like one very detailed, specific thing, one very quick, specific deliverable, and whether it happens quickly or not, and whether it comes out with the quality that you're looking for or not, that's always, a little bit of a crapshoot. So
Yeah, it
anyways,
is.
I think, but I've done those, and I sometimes they've worked out really well and other times not so much, and that's okay. And I always kind of know what I'm getting into when I try it. And so to your point though, like from the organizational lens of trying to think about talent pipelines and trying to think about getting the work done that you need done and having great people to be able to do it. Sometimes hiring and having in-house people, with everything that goes along with that is the answer. But a lot of times it's not, just because it doesn't give you the agility, and flexibility that you need in the modern world of work. And there's, debates to be had around that, good and bad, whatever, the shifting psychological contract, the shifting nature of work and of talent pipelines and everything. It's big conversations to be had around that. But in the reality that we're in, we do need creative, flexible ways to tap into talent, And so this seems to be one of those great opportunities to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I would also say that Penji works well with one person teams, but I would actually not recommend Penji for one person teams. Um, Strictly because a lot of founders specifically are all over the place and they don't necessarily know what they want
Yeah.
and they or maybe they do know what they want and they're just not there. I would say like the best the best customer for Penji is people who already have an internal team or have a good understanding of how the internal process of creativity works. Um, so yeah, I mean exactly right. So like if you have a creative director or if you have like an internal team, that person has a good understanding and just needs help. And I
Hmm.
think that's where, like, in order to help as a leader of your organization, you need to be able to identify the inefficiencies of your workflows, and then be able to fill that with paid positions, whether that be in-house or external or resources or AI or some kind. But there are a lot of people here, that are basically you're paying them 60 to 100 plus $1,000 a year and they're on Canva pretty much every single day.
Yeah.
Like if you're bringing somebody in house in order to bring them, you're not hiring them as a grunt worker. You're hiring them for their creative brain. At least that's what I hope you're interviewing them or that you're hiring them for. So if you're bringing them in for creativity purposes and contribution to the actual business as a whole, then you need to be able to leverage that to the best of your ability as a leader. And you should not be giving that person grunt work. If there is grunt work in your business, you should outsource it. Whatever that looks like, you should outsource it.
Yeah. Well, let's dig into that a little bit, because there's all this repetitive, when we say grunt work, it's the repetitive, it's the stuff that can be automated, and or the stuff that, you know, often AI can be leveraged for, at least in some ways, or at least in initial drafts or things like that. Um, ideation and things like that. How have you seen that impact your work, your organization, and like broader kind of thoughts around just what this means for the future of work as organizations are trying to optimize talent, lean into these disruptive technologies, and also recognize, you still need the human creativity to be a key part of all of that.
Love AI, love all of it. Our designers and creatives, they are told to use it.
Yeah.
To your point, it still needs a brain. So therefore, regardless of whatever ideas that you have, it still needs to be able to something needs to be created with somebody else. And I think that's kind of like where Penji comes into to play is that creativity brain. Whereas like you actually want to filter 17 times in order to find something that's good for within AI? Probably not. Especially because like when AI is creating the designs, it renders quite a bit and requires a lot of information and time. So therefore that's like additional time that you don't want to spend time on. So therefore, like, should you do it? And if that's the answer, then sure. If that's what you can afford, then go for it. But again, like as your business grows, you need to outsource to the best of your ability. And whatever that business looks like, as a single person business, it's probably sales. So then go back to doing sales. If it's a internal team and you're the marketing or the ads person, you shouldn't be designing the ads. You should be putting the final touches on the ads in order to make sure that they run properly. So, like, will it ever be disrupted? Sure, it's going to be moderately disrupted, but I think in the end, it's just another tool. It's just right now, it's like this is the fancy tool. This is the carrot that's being dangled in front of everybody, and it's shiny and new and cool, and it is cool, but I think to your point, I think it still needs a creative brain to achieve it.
Yeah, well, in the AI adoption across organizations, I mean, at this point, we're still fairly early stage. For most organizations, they're not very sophisticated and how they're adopting AI usage, and it's largely very ad hoc and haphazard, various frontline employees trying to figure out how they can utilize certain tools to help enhance what they're doing in their jobs, and not a lot of high level strategy or coordination from what I can see in most organizations around AI usage. And that's why there's increasing number of like reports coming out, and studies coming out around the ROI of AI investments, and the actual practical, usage, and how it's benefiting organizations. It hasn't caught up to the investments yet, and
Mm.
will it? Probably. It's such a great tool, but you have to be very strategic and intentional around usage and implementation. One of the things that people always talk about when it comes to talent, when it comes to AI, is displacement. Like people are gonna lose their jobs and be taken over by AI agents and bots and such. And to your point, like especially when we're in the creative realm, um, these tools can be super helpful, but they can't do it on their own. Like otherwise you get the AI slop that everyone's talking about, like the proliferation of AI slop, that there's um, so much content that is kind of crummy that people just put out because they can produce crummy content quickly. If we want really good quality content, and I think there'll become a more and more, it'll be a differentiator between like the slop, the AI slop, and the great content. And it's that great content is human driven. And so that's something that we have to pay close attention to. And while yes, will there be task disruption? Will there be, certain things that we used to do that we won't need to do anymore because we can automate it, because we can have AI or, advanced deep machine learning, robotics, whatever, to help with those sorts of things? Sure, there's going to be task disruption. Um, and even some role disruption, and even career disruption. That's going to happen, but it always happens. It happens anytime you have any sort of advancements or technology or innovation. Um, what I see and what it gets me excited about the age we're in, and as I look forward to the future of work, is just how much it can free people up to do the real human work that most of us would prefer to do. Like, how many of us want to do those repetitive, mundane tasks over and over again? Um, I don't, like I love that more and more I can either outsource it or have these other automations that can help me to do those things, so I can focus more on strategic stuff, on creative stuff, on human interaction, and those sorts of things that really drive meaning and purpose in the work that I do. And that's what gets people engaged and sticky in their positions in their organization, so they stick around.
A lot of people like doing tasks, and it's fun to be busy, but I think it's just another excuse, to be honest with you. Like a lot of the AI stuff is just an excuse for being scared or for being nervous about the disruption that it is. Like even before AI, there were still tasks that needed to be done, and you did them because you felt like you were being busy. But in
Mhm.
actuality, you contributed absolutely net zero, if not net negative,
Right.
for the business. So it's like, this is just again a shiny new toy that's super cool and amazing, and it can be used and leveraged. But at the end of the day, it's like what are you trying to do for what are the first question is like what were the goals? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, if you need to whatever that goal is, right? I'll give you a perfect example. I was doing I my one of my dreams in life is to own a winery.
Oh, nice.
And I don't really care about putting these people on blast because I think they're absolutely foolish for the decision that they made. They were going to sell it, and then I was going to be a moderate owner, I guess, right? And it was really awesome and it was really cool, and they wanted to keep it in the family, and that's whatever, that's fine. Um, I basically and I was consulting and things like that for them from a personal standpoint. My I grow businesses. That's all I've ever done. Never had a real job. This is all I've ever done. Um, I don't have a W-2. I've never had a W-2. So, here I am, and I grow businesses. And they said, well, we actually don't want your help consulting. I was like, sure, whatever, it's fine. And then I said, oh, and listen, if you want to grow, I really think you're making a mistake if you want to grow the business. Um, but if you don't, then you're already successful. And so
Yeah.
they made the decision that they don't want to grow the business and they want to make a modest, maybe a million-ish a year. Probably not, but somewhere close to that. Um, and my dreams were always to take it to like 10 million or
Hmm.
to 5 million or whatever that number is, because that's the logical step. So if you want to, at least to me, is logical. But like if you want to make a modest $100,000 a year, hey, that's cool. Like you can do that and you can do
Yeah.
that really well, and you can actually do a lot of tasks every single day, and you can be busy or fake busy, and you'll be awesome. You'll live a good life. I think. I don't know. But you'll live a good life. But then there's other people who want more than that, or at least believe that they want more than that. They want to make $1 million themselves a year. Okay, cool. Well, what does it take in order to achieve that? Then, well, what are you going to be doing with your time when you are able to achieve $1 million a year? Probably not what you're doing right now when it comes to AI and dicking around for like 4 hours in order to try and figure out how to use it. So like that's I think that's like if you want to leverage people, I think you have to start off with like what do you want to be when you grow up? And if you don't
Mm.
have that answer, that's totally cool. But I would have at least some moderate level of like achievement. And to me and to Penji and my business partner and things like that, like that's the one thing that we agree on is the job's not done, and the job's not going to be done until, and even when that job's done, it's not still not done because there's going to be another job. Like we have very outlandish crazy goals, and it takes crazy person to be able to do it, and it takes the help of people like yourself who have an audience that have no idea who Penji is to be able to potentially, at least if not build one friend, build multiple friends that are listening. But I think it starts with the goal. Whatever that goal is, it has to be crazy or moderate, and then you just focus your whole life or energy on that particular thing. And whatever it takes in order to get that, you achieve it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Well, Jonathan, this has just been a great conversation. I note the time. I need to let you go. I've kept you long. But as we wrap up, I want to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, where they can find more about Penji, where they can find your podcasts, because that sounds like a fun listen. And then give us the final word for today.
Yeah. So you can email me anytime if you resonate at all. Jonathan at penji.co. If I didn't resonate with you, that's cool too. Sign off and do your thing. But I say end of word. The end of the final word is job's not done. So whatever that takes, whatever that means to you, just go do it or don't. But the people that are actually still listening to this are probably the one percenters that are actually going to like achieve success. Those who collect off, good luck with whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, to get connected, find out more about what Jonathan can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe. They can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week.